What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. We've got a very special guest for you. Again, we try and bring you these from people from all around the world. We've got Juance all the way from Latin America. Juance, first of all, thank you for coming on. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here to talk about Leicester. I'm
Yeah.
very excited about this and a little nervous.
Don't worry. Again, there's no problem. Take your time, and it's just about finding more about our international community. Obviously, being from here, we see the internet. We see some international fans on social media and things. It's good to put a face to a name. So, my thing is, initially, it was obviously being from Leicester. It's why did you choose to support Leicester City?
It's a curious thing because all started back in the title season 2016 when I wasn't really interested about football at the time, but I used to play PES a lot with my cousin, and we used to update the database of the game. We we created the teams that get promoted. We kicked out the other teams, and that way. And my cousin used to come to my house every weekend, and there was time that he started to come every weekend, and he started to say, Leicester are still top of the Premier League, and that was every weekend he said that, and that started to be in my brain, and I started to think about that with no knowledge about what were going to happen. And one weekend he came and he said, Leicester City have won the Premier League. And I was like, wow, well, what can I say? I didn't know anything at that time. But we spent all that night creating Leicester City, and we created Jamie Vardy, N'Golo Kante, Riyad Mahrez, Christian Fuchs, Mark Albrighton, all the players of that team. And that's the time that the name Leicester City entered my mind. Mm-hmm. And then, like 3 or 4 years later, I started to watch a YouTube channel called La Meia Inglesa. It's a Spanish channel that talks only about English football, and not only Premier League, but AFL too. And then I became to be more interested about football. I learned a lot, and I found out Leicester again, and I started to find some things that I became really, I don't know how to say it. Like Leicester represents me in a lot of things, and I started to learn about the history of the club, about the players. I started to follow some games because here in Argentina it's hard to watch Premier League games, and more about Leicester games because ESPN. Well, I'm not going to say anything about the ESPN, but that's the time I say I'm a Leicester fan. That's the time I became a Leicester fan.
That's really interesting as well, especially being all the way in Argentina. Again, we found as well, just from being here, we find that the other clubs, the Man United, Liverpool, all these teams are mentioned more. Leicester tends to be mentioned less as well. So, and you can find that in the commentary as well when they talk about even when the team is winning, it's how the other team is doing not well rather than the team that's smaller that's doing well. But yeah, it's great to find that, and just to find. Obviously, you mentioned you're from Argentina. Is there many Leicester? Do they know much about Leicester City in Argentina as well?
Well, here in Argentina, there are a lot of fans of the Premier League, and obviously they know about Leicester, but not a lot of Leicester fans, the meaning of the word. But in Twitter, I found out a lot of Leicester fans, and we created a WhatsApp group, and we talked a lot about the club. We spent time talking about possible transfers. We used to talk about the matches, and it was really fun to find another Argentinian Leicester fans.
Yeah, again, there's not a lot of us, but There's just fans that work together as well. In terms of that, obviously, we've got again the Leicester City link for Argentina is Leonardo Azuz recently as well. Don't know if you know much about him, and what was your thoughts when he joined, and is he still? I know obviously Argentinians are fanatics about you're fanatics about football, but was there anything about obviously the Azuz link there?
There was a little thing, but I can say no. It's more about the other players, the usually starter players, than Leo. But yeah, Leo had an interview with La Media Inglesa, and it's a little part of the taste that Leicester have to me.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
That's sweet.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully that helped you move on, which is great as well. One thing I was going to ask for as well in terms of who is your favorite current player that plays for the squad?
I think 6 months before it could have been hard to say one favorite player, but now Wesley Fofana. I love that man. I love that man. I can't say anymore. Anything. It's like
yeah. He's a great player, and again, he's one of the ones that hopefully for the future, him signing a long-term contract, he'll be here for a few more years as well, which will be great as well. And in the past, obviously, Bob. So out of the current players, you've always Fofana. In the past, has there been any favorite players you'd like to watch as well?
Well, maybe Gary Lineker, because it's a legend not only for Leicester but for England, and Emil Heskey. It's a really curious player.
He's really again he's a legend around these parts as well. So he's doing a lot of work with the women's side with the ambassador as well, which is really good to see. And in things of that as well, we've got one thing I was going to say as well. Is there a favorite match, or is there a match that you watch? You're like, okay, that's a match that's special to me where Leicester played.
Probably, it's hard to choose one, but I think it will be between the second leg against PSV in the Conference League, or the game against Rennes when Wesley Fofana came back and scored. That was really a good moment, an emotive moment.
Yeah, both of them again. That Europe, even though we reached semi-finals, the run up to that was great there as well. And is there any favorite? Would you have a favorite memory of watching Leicester? So things like them winning the Charity Shield or the FA Cup or anything like that as well.
Well, you just mentioned it, the FA Cup. That day of the final, I should have gone to school, but I tell my mom, "Mom, it's the FA Cup final. Can I stay at home and watch it?" She said, "Yes, you can." And I stayed and watched the final. And when Yuri scored that goal, I started to run my house. I made at least 4 or 5 laps, turning around the table, and was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it really was. And then that one, and then the Schmeichel save as well. Them two moments are, I think, as big as each other for that. With
the
that
Schmeichel
game.
saves,
yes,
in plural,
yes,
he was just immense.
Yes, and that's the thing as well. Obviously, coming into obviously some of the players we've got at the moment and some of the squad we've got. From what you've seen from the King Power as well, of what you've seen from the owners and things, in terms of the Leicester City in the community and things like that as well, we want to mention obviously the transfers. Who would you like to see that would be brought into Leicester City this summer? Because obviously Brendan Rodgers has mentioned things called the rebuild, but what are your thoughts on potential players to bring in?
I could say Charles de Ketelaere because I like him a lot. I watched him in the Champions League, and he was just simply brilliant. But now that the rumors about Saliba are so big, I really want to see him with Wesley in the center back.
Yeah.
It's a world class center back. He's still young, and with Wesley, everything should be perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree there as well. Again, hopefully the links are there, but with Tillemans being part of that as well, potentially for Arsenal, will be interesting
Yeah.
to see as well.
A possibly replace will be probably Florian Neuhaus. I remember with Joaquin, we spent some time looking, comparing Yuri stats with Florian Neuhaus, and was just like a mirror. They are really, they are like the same player.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really similar style of play, and he played in the same role. So I would really like to see him also Florian Neuhaus at Leicester.
I know he's been linked to, I think, briefly as well. So hopefully,
Mhm.
yeah, we could get him because there's going to be some great players, especially with the academy as well. So as well as you probably, I know you and Joaquin do a lot of work with the under 18s and under
Yeah.
23s. Is there anybody that potentially step up from the under 23s that you think into the first team, or that you've seen so far?
Well, there are a lot of names. Sammy Braybrook, Ben Nelson, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
Will Alves, a lot of names. But for the first team, it's hard to find a player that fits because we have really good backups in every position, at least. Well, less the center back, but at least in every position of the field, we have a good backup. So it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to find a place to that young players, but I think they should be entering like I don't know how to say.
Steady, slowly.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
to enter slowly to the first team, and they should be in I don't know 1 2 years a good backup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, and it's going to potentially go out on loan. We're going to do another video of that hopefully soon, so make sure you stay tuned in terms of loan players and youth players and where their future is, because
Sound
there is
right?
again, yeah, there's going to be a good one for that as well. In terms of that, what are your thoughts on Brendan Rodgers as well this season and going forward? What are your thoughts on him?
It's hard to say because he's a FA Cup champion and a Community Shield champion. It's hard to say, but I think this season could have been worse, but it's a bad season. Just that. So I think he's the man that can rebuild this team, and he don't need to do some things. He don't need to do a lot of things. We have a good team. He had just to adjust that little things to make everything goes right, and we can be fighting for your places again. It's
I think,
just I don't know if a backup thing in the back four,
mhm,
but it's it was just a bad season. We have really bad luck with the injuries.
mhm,
Like there's no player that had played more than 28 games. I think I watched
yeah,
the stat. It's really bad luck.
mm,
And with West in the preseason, with the elements with Ndidi, so
mhm.
it's just that it's bad luck and yeah, a part of Rogers, of course, because he's the manager. He should know how to solve this. But I think he can make something click in his head and stay. I don't know how to say it. Stay progressing with the team. I
Mhm.
think we could fight back for Europe positions.
I think
Like
so
I
too.
don't know if next season, but later.
And I think we have the squad to compete for there as well. You look at the likes of,
Yeah.
even look at the fullbacks with Castagna, James Justin. You've got Ricardo, again, a great player there. We do need a more strength and depth, especially centre back, as you were saying. I agree there. But and I think one thing we need as well is if we are going to play the 4-2-3-1 that Brendan likes, we have to get a right winger. Especially, I think that one is key. Albrighton is good as a squad player, but he's not going to start every game.
Yes, I love Albrighton, the best crosser of the history of the Premier League, and I really like Azuz when he plays on that right wing. But I think Azuz is a good player to be a backup, to enter, I don't know, in the 7th minute, and then gave a revolution to the team. But yeah, it's a position that we have suffered a lot as a Leicester fan. And I don't understand why, if we had last season Cengiz Under, why he didn't stay. He was, I saw him play with Marseille this season, and he was just like a Mahrez 2.0. It's really, really similar to Mahrez. I don't know why we didn't keep it. We should sign someone on that right wing.
Yeah, I think as well. Would be the right wing for you? Would you think? Obviously, we've had some players, we've bought some players, and one player on loan we've got is Lookman. Is he a good? Would you, if you, in your opinion, would you want to sign him, and would he play on the right? What do you think?
I will sign him because he has been just simply great this season, but he's not a right winger. He's a Barnes backup. Just that he can play on the right wing as he does on the left. When he plays on the left wing, he's mentally superior to every player on the field. He in closed spaces, he moves really well. He can associate with Dewsbury Hall a lot. He associates with Bardi, and he played really, really well on the left side. But on the right side, he's good, but not as good as a started right winger should be. So I think we should sign him, but we also need to sign a right winger.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think that's one of the places that the club are definitely looking at to sign as well, which is a good to see as well. Finally, as well, again, thank you, Joaquin. It's been great to have you on. Where can the people find you? Again, I'll leave a link to the description for them as well, but feel free to shout yourself out.
Well, thanks for having me here. They could find me in Twitter. I spend a lot of time of my life in Twitter, and I'm @Juance_Ortiz. I should put it on my name here, but I didn't realize it until like 5-6 minutes after starting to record. And they could find me in Instagram too. I think it's the same tag, or maybe with a more lower bar. I will see it later. But yeah, in Twitter and Instagram, I'm really active.
Sure. Again, make sure to follow Juance. I've left a link in the description to the Twitter and Instagram.
And in the account of Leicester IT. That's an important thing.
What's that, sorry?
In the account of Leicester IT, the account we manage with Joaquin. That's cool. A really important thing.
Yes, I'll put that in the description as well. I've got that from Joaquin, and I'll include that one as well. Finally, Juance, anything else to say apart from that as well?
Not too much to say. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for giving me the space to talk about Leicester. Kasper Schmeichel is the goal, and see you later.
Sounds good to me. Thank you, everybody. Like, subscribe. Make sure to follow Juance and all his social medias below. We'll see everybody in the next video. So goodbye.